This video is an AI-based historical reconstruction, grounded in period records, created for educational and narrative purposes.
On April 14, 1912, Titanic received clear ice warnings ahead and still held course and speed. In the Marconi wireless room, paper slips piled up between passenger messages, while the Atlantic turned unnaturally calm. Up on the bridge, a moonless night kills contrast and makes ice harder to spot. In minutes, a warning becomes a historical record. Before we step into the alerts that moved through the ship and what was done with them, like the video, subscribe, and follow me inside Titanic minute by minute. On board Titanic, the maiden voyage looks like a showcase of engineering and order. On deck, passengers watch the Atlantic while the white superstructure and metal details sell a sense of modernity. At the same time, sailors keep cables, winches, and safety routines in perfect rhythm, with no sign of emergency. Below, in the boiler rooms and engine spaces, the pace is relentless. Coal, steam, and massive moving parts hold the planned speed. That normalcy creates a world where technical warnings, when they appear, can feel like just another piece of North Atlantic traffic. In the Marconi wireless room, operators grind through a heavy volume of passenger messages and commercial traffic. Wireless telegraphy still isn't a standardized maritime warning system. It blends public duty with private demand. Between personal telegrams, ice warnings arrive from nearby ships, short and to the point. They get written down, pinned up, stacked, and reshuffled through fatigue and rush. The information is there, but how it's prioritized and passed along depends on the moment and the workflow. In that operational detail, the decision chain begins to take shape. The warnings leave the wireless room and enter the ship's internal bloodstream. A messenger carries slips into officers' spaces, where the content has to become practical navigation. In the chart room, an officer marks positions and compares the route to reported areas, using parallel rulers and quick notes. Because the ice reports cover broad sectors of the North Atlantic, the risk can read differently depending on distance, time, and trust in the report. Meanwhile, out on deck, routine keeps rolling. Lifeboats stay covered, fittings checked, service running. On board, almost nothing changes in visible behavior, even as new entries keep sliding into the system. On the bridge, the work is methodical. Heading checks, instruments, engine order telegraphs, repeaters, and log entries on a steady schedule. A delivered warning does not automatically mean slowing down. It gets weighed against weather and visibility. With the sea looking calm and the sky clear, the crossing keeps an air of technical control. Lines on the chart get adjusted and small corrections happen, but they don't break the ship's rhythm. The captain and officers operate within the practices of the era, where ice is a known risk, and a frequent one in certain zones. The result is confident navigation pushing into a region where what you can see starts to matter more than what's on paper. As daylight fades, the cold sharpens and the deck feels different. The ocean turns glassy, which is dangerous because it removes foam and contrast, making distant ice harder to detect. On the bridge, the watch becomes more dependent on the human eye and a few visual cues. In the wireless room, the work doesn't slow for a second. Paper strips spill from the receiver, new messages stack up, and fatigue builds. In moments like this, the difference between information received and action taken can be just a few minutes. The ship keeps moving with steady confidence, but the risk closes in, one quiet detail at a time. More warnings come in, and their movement depends on who sorts, delivers, and interprets them. In the Marconi room, passenger traffic keeps competing for airtime, while navigation alerts try to force their way through the same pipeline. In the chart room, each slip becomes a mark or a tweak, but that doesn't mean an immediate change in speed. Outside, night settles in fully, dark, cold, and too calm, with no breaking waves to betray ice. On board, routine still dominates, even deep below where the boilers never stop. From here on, any delay in turning warning into real caution carries outsized weight. Early in the night, Titanic holds on to normal life. Passengers move between heated rooms and lit corridors, while crew handle the details that keep the ship orderly. In the Marconi room, the workload doesn't drop. Paper strips, sorted piles, and quick notes keep stacking. Between private messages, ice warnings arrive from other ships, brief and direct. The critical point is simple. The information has to leave the wireless room and reach the officers in time. Every slip delivered by a messenger is a link in that chain. Up in the foremast, the lookouts face a brutal night. No moon, deepening cold, and a sea growing smoother by the hour. That calm kills contrast and wipes away clues like foam and breaking waves, making ice harder to spot at range. On the bridge, instruments and repeaters still hold the course, but real visibility depends on what the human eye can separate from the dark. The captain reads the situation through the operational logic of the time, where ice is a known threat and routinely reported. Meanwhile, passengers drift inward, and the feeling of safety stays intact on the upper decks. The flow of warnings intensifies, and the wireless room runs at the edge. Operators separate navigation notes from everything else, but the pace of transmission and the growing stacks create perfect conditions for delay. A messenger cuts through corridors with slips in hand, and the chart room turns those messages into marks on the map, comparing positions and the intended track. Still, a warning recorded doesn't mean an immediate change. It enters an evaluation that depends on distance, confidence in the report, and the state of the sea. Outside, the surface looks like a mirror, making the night less readable for anyone searching for obstacles ahead. The wireless room receives a key warning and turns it into paper, ready to circulate. On the table, the note is set apart and sent by messenger, while the bridge reviews markings and compares what arrives with the planned track. Titanic keeps advancing with steady stability, and that's the problem. With no immediate visual signals, urgency fades. The chain depends on delivery speed, correct reading, and operational decisions. If you want to stay inside these decisive minutes and understand how the warnings were handled on board, like the video and subscribe, because the next sequence shows the moment the horizon stops being just darkness. The night turns harsher. In the crow's nest, lookouts keep scanning, but the glassy sea and the missing moon reduce contrast to almost nothing. On the bridge, small helm corrections and instrument checks follow procedure, yet danger detection ahead still depends on direct sight. In the chart room, slips get moved and rechecked, showing attention to the ice issue, but without a trigger that forces a hard change. On deck, the crew feels the cold intensify and hears the ocean's silence, without the usual sound of waves. It's a set of conditions built for a late sighting. Then something changes on the horizon. At first, it's only a shift in tone, a pale mass separating itself from the black. On the bridge, attention locks forward, and officers move to instruments and controls. In moments like this, the window to maneuver is razor thin. The ship is enormous, speed is high, and calm water removes early warnings. What happens in the next seconds is the direct consequence of a night with almost no margin for error. The response on the bridge is fast and technical. The engine order telegraph is worked, the helm is thrown hard over, and officers coordinate simultaneous moves to buy space. Up on the mast, the lookouts watch the Iceberg fill the frame, its pale face pushing toward the bow. The bridge tries to make the ship obey, but physics sets the terms: mass, inertia, and response time. The goal is simple and brutally hard. Avoid a direct hit and scrape by with the least damage possible. Even with the maneuver, the closeness becomes unavoidable. The impact isn't a classic crash. It's a prolonged contact that translates into vibration and a subtle jolt felt across the ship. On deck, sailors notice it through a tremor in railings and structure. In the lower levels, it shows up in the steel underfoot, along with slight changes in the engine's rhythm. On the bridge, the Iceberg passes close enough to judge through the window, like a pale wall sliding through the dark. Titanic keeps moving for a few moments, and that deceptive continuity makes the danger harder to recognize right away. From here, the damage assessment begins to decide the rest of the night. Down below, the seriousness appears first as water where it doesn't belong. In service rooms and forward compartments, the sea spreads across the deck and forces quick choices. Shift cargo, close access points, fall back. Titanic's design can tolerate limited flooding, but the extent of damage is the deciding factor. Thomas Andrews starts connecting scattered signals into a technical conclusion. Too many compartments have been compromised. On the bridge, indicators and routines confirm this isn't a passing scare. From here, wireless stops being convenience and becomes survival. The operator sends distress calls again and again, while Bride adjusts tuning and connections to keep power in reach. Every paper strip and every dial change is an attempt to shrink the distance between Titanic and real help in the Atlantic. Messages have to leave the ship and be understood by whoever is listening, through noise and traffic. Time is measured in minutes now, and the Marconi room works like an emergency post. At the lifeboat deck, work turns mechanical and urgent. Pull off covers, cast off lashings, rig the falls. Officers check fittings and lines, because one small mistake here can drop a boat into a black sea. Lanterns and lamps carve islands of light into a night that keeps getting colder. At the same time, inside the ship, life jackets are handed out and routes upward fill fast. The preparation reveals a hard limit we all know now. There aren't boats for everyone, and every launch matters. Evacuation exposes Titanic's social geography. Third-class passengers face narrower corridors and more doors, while first class reaches the upper deck by more direct access. The crew tries to control the flow, keep passages clear, and move people to embarkation points. Wind and cold make everything harder, and the calm sea lies to the senses. It's far too quiet for the size of the danger. In this moment, the tragedy stops being technical and becomes logistical, with decisions made in motion. The first lifeboats begin to lower, and the ship changes scale. From a lit giant to small wooden hulls hanging on ropes. The descent is slow and controlled, with winches groaning and lines running through blocks. Inside the boat, the cold hits instantly, and the closeness of black water makes everything real. The distance from the hull grows, and with it, the realization that going back isn't simple. Every boat launched lowers risk for some, and raises the pressure to launch the next. As flooding advances, physical signs get harder to ignore. A slight list, changes in engine rhythm, colder drafts moving through the ship. In corridors, people brace themselves. On deck, eyes go to the waterline and the bow sitting lower. Out on the sea, lifeboats drift back and see Titanic as a lit structure in motion, transforming minute by minute. Distress rockets rise into the sky, searching for any ship nearby. The night stays calm, but life on board is no longer stable. In the boats, scale shifts in an instant. Titanic becomes a lit building in the dark, and the ocean becomes the floor. Short strokes pull the wooden boats away from the hull, while on deck the crew fights to launch more under tension, with ropes tight and winches grinding. For those still below, boats on the water create a new urgency. It's no longer, will the ship hold? It becomes, is there room? The sea stays calm, which helps the lowering, but it also hides the distance and time. Each boat that pulls away confirms that returning to the deck won't be easy. Inside the ship, the atmosphere gives away the loss of stability. Corridors tilt, lights vibrate, and cold drafts push through doorways. In the lower levels, the cadence of the machinery changes and the hull's voice takes over, with long groans and sharp cracks from structure under strain. Andrews confirms in real-world signs what the math already said. Water is advancing faster than any routine can contain. On deck, the last preparations continue, but with less room for clean execution. In the boats, Titanic's glow starts to look uncertain, as if light itself is no longer guaranteed. The final minutes accelerate. Rockets climb, trying to catch the attention of any ship in the area, while the hull's angle becomes obvious even to those who don't speak navigation. Passageways pack tight, stairways become obstacles, and the deck begins to behave like a ramp. The structure answers with louder, irregular sounds, the result of stresses far beyond normal. From a distance, Titanic changes profile. The stern rises, and the lights cut the night like a leaning beacon. The calm sea clashes with what's happening on board, making it clearer and more cruel. The last phase is physical, not symbolic. Objects slide, water surges in pulses, and lighting fails until only silhouette remains. For those still on board, the floor loses meaning and survival becomes a search for grip and air. For those in the boats, collapse arrives as a deep roar, lights going out, and a sudden emptiness where a whole ship used to be. Then there's only the surface, wreckage, and people scattered in the dark. The ocean stays calm, which prevents big waves, but it doesn't soften the brutal cold. In this interval, the tragedy reaches its largest human scale. With Titanic gone from view, the scene becomes a survival field. Lifeboats try to maneuver through debris, weak lanterns, and nearly still water, while some still fight to stay afloat. Hope becomes a point of light on the horizon, growing slowly, far too slowly for anyone in icy water. When a boat moves in, every motion must be calculated to avoid capsizing. Dawn delivers what wireless begged for hours earlier, a real answer. The distance between distress sent and help arriving becomes undeniable, and the cost is unbearable. Rescue turns chaos into procedure. Ropes, rope ladders, hands pulling, blankets, and hot drinks to fight shock and hypothermia. Survivors arrive exhausted, many unable to explain what happened minute by minute, only that the ship didn't come back. Then come the investigations, and the focus returns to the warnings. When they arrived, how they moved, and why caution didn't win over routine. Wireless logs and navigation records become evidence, not working paper. The consequence is practical. Rules change, radio watches tightened, and lifeboat requirements are rewritten so the next crossing doesn't depend on the same kind of luck. Titanic ends on the floor of the Atlantic, but its warnings stay on the surface of history.